Welcome back to the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. Your host, Jared and Emmanuel, here to bring you movie news, movie reviews, and all around movie topics. Like, subscribe, and comment on whichever platform you're listening to this episode on, and be sure to check out previous episodes if you're listening for the first time. All right, episode 8. Here we are, the big 8. We're here for you. You ready, Emmanuel? How you feeling today?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's just get right into it, guys. Today we're going to be talking about The Naked Gun 2025 version, starring Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. It's directed by Akiva Schaffer. He's also directed movies, Hot Rod. He did Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. And he also did the Hunger Games movies. I don't know if he did all of them, but he did one of them.
You did? All right.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the Naked Gun movies. Now, I know that these are like old movies from the late 80s into the early 90s. They starred Leslie Nielsen. It's based on a short-lived TV series called Police Squad. And it's just like a lot of parody comedy, a lot of jokes, a lot of gags. And yeah. We'll get into it for sure. But first impressions of this movie for me. All right, let me break it down. I had not, like I just said, I have not seen any of the Naked Gun movies before. So I did not know which way the style of comedy would go. I do remember seeing this trailer in the movie theater, and I found it funny. But by the time I had seen the movie, I had forgot most, or if all, what I had seen in the trailer. So it was all pretty new. I can say that I did enjoy this movie for sure. I love that the plot did not drag. And, they focused more, like the plot was pretty light. It focused a lot more on the jokes, the quick snappy jokes. And I can definitely say it made me want to go and watch the original ones after, and I definitely plan on doing that. I thought that the plot overall was a bit silly, but it works for a movie like this that doesn't take itself seriously. And I just love that it didn't drag out. It was a pretty quick movie. I think it was about maybe an hour and a half, hour and 40. What about you, Emmanuel? What were your first impressions of this movie?
So first impressions. So I'm not a huge fan of these parody movies. I didn't see the earlier movies, Naked Gun movies, but I have seen movies like this, the comedy parody movies. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not going to let that, influence I'm going to try to give an honest rating here. So the first impressions, it did match my expectations for a modern revival of Naked Gun. Like, if there was something that it should have, you know what I mean? It did what it was supposed to do, is what I'm trying to say. The opening scene was as good as any. After you watch the opening scene, you're like, oh, okay, I know what this movie's in. It's going to it set the tone for the whole movie.
Exactly.
It didn't blow me out of my socks or anything, but it definitely did its job. So my first impressions in the opening scene, it set the tone for the movie, and it didn't, for people who like that type of stuff, it didn't disappoint the rest of the way through.
I actually like that opening scene a lot too. I thought that was one of the best moments of the movie, especially when he was playing patty cake with the bank robbers. Thought that was pretty funny. This movie also has some pretty cool cameos. Busta Rhymes was in it. I didn't even notice that Busta Rhymes was in the beginning bank robbing scene. Like, I don't know if you remember, but there was when he had him in the interrogation room, and then he was showing up the body cam video. When they got to the actual robbery in that bit, they showed Busta Rhymes, and I'm like, wow, I did not catch that he was there.
Me neither. I didn't catch.
That was cool. But they had a lot of fast-paced jokes in this movie, for sure. There was a lot of ones that if you weren't super focused in, they might have went right over your head, or you might not have caught them. Another funny, really funny moment that I enjoyed in the movie was when they were in the club, Pamela Anderson, and she was doing the scatting up on stage. I thought that was hilarious, especially since she was scatting with no music. So she was just up there really speaking nonsense. But I thought that was really funny.
I remember that was a good scene.
Yeah, definitely. What about you? Did you have any other memorable moments or the best joke of the movie that landed for you?
So yeah, there was maybe a few things. So I love the part when Pamela Anderson was like stitching up his arm, and she puts a piece of celery on it to signify like herbal healing. That was one that I laughed at that. And then the constant coffee cup thing was pretty funny because all the cop movies, they just always have coffee. I don't know if you know what I mean. That whole like bit with it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty. I remember when he was driving, like the hand came through and gave him a cup of coffee.
Yeah, like he
That was funny.
he somehow always ended up with a cup of coffee. Um, I did like how I made fun of some things in movies, like that one scene where the bad guys, like all lined up in a row, and he was just like he would like punch one, and then he would get him and then punch one. So it was kind of like, you know what I mean? But instead of like making it look like a super action scene, they literally just lined up and got knocked out one by one. Like that was kind of funny. It was technically well done, I guess. It's just the fact that I'm not a huge fan of this type of comedy, and that's what's holding me back from giving it like a rave review.
Okay. Was there anything unique about the movie? Like, did it modernize the parody genre or did it just copy old tricks? What did you think?
I think it's stuff that's been done before, but then again, so is every other movie. It has modern concepts like electric cars and stuff like that, but they still used old phones with the cords and some stuff from old times, which is kind of nostalgic. It was done well. I laughed in some part, but the problem is with these types of movies, sometimes you just see a joke or something, you're like, oh, that was just dumb. Like the scene where Buster Rhymes, when he was like, you know, like that they scrolled through the tape in the interrogation room and he was in the interrogation room. I wish that scene, like I wish that his presence in the movie would have been done something like way cooler than just been in an interrogation room and lied about being on tape. Like I was like, oh cool. I was like, because I didn't remember Buster Rhymes from the first part. And then I see Buster Rhymes, I'm like, oh man, I wonder what he's gonna do. And it was kind of like a really mellow scene. So compared to the rest of the movie, so I wish they had done something like really funny with him.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think this movie brought anything unique. I think that it just followed the method from the older ones with the whole slapstick comedy bit. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's the trademark for the movie, and I think they hit well. I didn't have any real issues with this movie. But I do wonder what made them cast Liam Neeson for this role. Now, I don't think he did a bad job whatsoever, but I it's just hard for me to see Liam Neeson like in that comedy role. Like he's not like the funniest person to me. So his delivery of the jokes, like it was like 50-50, you know? Honestly, maybe they picked him because he's a bit older and like maybe they just I know it's like a reboot, so maybe it's not the same exact character from the old one, or maybe it is, but maybe they just wanted to keep like that nostalgia and have like an older man for the movie. I thought it would have been funny if they would have had Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds would kill a movie like this. Like him, the narration that they did and just the jokes and like, we've seen Ryan Reynolds be funny before, especially as Deadpool. I think Ryan Reynolds would kill this role, but they went with Liam Neeson and that's fine. What about you? Did you have any issues with it?
Yeah, I mean, some parts were funny, others were like just dumb. For example, that one machine that's supposed to increase testosterone and you can see smoke coming from the machine. That was something that fell flat for me. Every time I saw that thing, I was kind of like, ah.
Yeah, I didn't get that joke.
It was, I don't know what that was. And, it barely drew a smile, and not because it wasn't funny, just because these movies are jam-packed with like funny and dumb stuff. And that was just kind of seems like some filler comedy, like the cup thing that I mentioned earlier. Like sometimes, the movie's meant to go over the top, but sometimes they just, just goes. And eventually you just don't laugh at something because it just, you can't laugh like 80 times during the movie. You just kind of watch it and you're like, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, overall, I think it was a funny movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. and it was a great gateway to the originals. I'm definitely gonna go watch those. I don't think we'll review them here, but I'll go watch them for sure. I do recommend this movie, and I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Light on the plot and heavy on the humor, but it might not connect with everyone. I have a pretty good sense of humor, so for me, it was enjoyable, and hopefully, the same for you. You as the listener, if you decide to go and watch it, hopefully the jokes land for you and you enjoy it. What about you? What's your score?
Yeah, I definitely say see it for a laugh. The problem is, it's one of those movies that are going way, way over the top. And so if you don't like extremes, then you probably won't like the comedy in this one because it does go way over the top the whole time. For me, the score was 7 out of 10. And, if you love that over the top comedy, you'll love it. If you like a more traditional classic, if you don't like things going extreme with comedy, then you probably won't like it. But I'll just say see it because it's good for a laugh, no matter which way you flip it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so let's get into our next segment. Now, if you listen to our last episode, we went over some trailers, and there were one of the movies that we did talk about, the Anaconda movie that's coming out with Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and another movie that we spoke about on a previous episode, the Sydney Sweeney movie called Christy, based on Christy Martin, the woman boxer. They're doing a biopic on that, starring Sydney Sweeney. Both of these trailers have released, so we just wanted to do quick talk about them. We've already seen the trailers. If you haven't seen the trailers, go on YouTube, put in Christy, put in Anaconda 2025, and so that you'll be brought up to speed on this. But let's just talk about the first one, the Sydney Sweeney one, Christy. I watched the trailer. I thought the trailer was good. It was nice, very light tone. Sydney Sweeney, she looks like a boxer for sure, but I mean, it's Sydney Sweeney, so when you look at her, you still see Sydney Sweeney. One of the lines that was most memorable for me was when she was talking to, I think he was like the boxing manager, or she might have been talking to Don King actor, I don't remember, but I remember that she said, "I'm just telling you about myself, sir." And that line was just funny to me because she has like a little Southern drawl on it. But I think from what I've seen from the trailer is definitely something I'm gonna go see in the movie. They did show a couple boxing scenes, but they didn't really flesh them out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. And overall, I think that this movie will be good. I know that there have been rumors online about them really pushing for like an Oscar, for this performance. We'll see, if it's Oscar worthy, but overall, high expectations for this movie. And I think that it will land the mark for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see it, honestly. Usually Sydney Sweeney is like this, girly character hunting after the boys type of lovey-dovey character, which is why I rarely see her movie. I think she's done a horror, but I like not someone that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go see that. But seeing her as a boxer, kind of a grimy, nostalgic '90s vibe, '80s vibe, that's interesting. And I'm definitely a fan of like the sports stories. So this is something that I would see. And I want to see if she could pull off the authentic embodiment of the character from the '80s and '90s there, and a boxer. The trailer made me feel curious, if anything. I'm curious about her performance, and also, does she lose in the end? I want to call it and say that she wins the boxing match in the end. But I'm curious to see if it ends up being like a sorrowful ending, like she ends up losing twice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, we got to see. Good prediction for sure, Emmanuel. Yeah, we got to see how the career goes. Cause like we said before, we're not familiar with Christy Martin. We spoke a little bit about her. She was a trailblazer. She had an issue with her husband. He tried to kill her, and obviously he didn't succeed. But it was. She has a wild story, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they portray her life on the big screen and how accurate it will be for sure. And the other trailer that came out was Anaconda, starring Jack Black, Paul Rudd. In the beginning of the trailer, they're telling you that they want to remake Anaconda or make a documentary, something like that. I thought that idea was great. I don't think I've seen this in a movie before where like the movie is about them remaking a movie and the movie is the title of that movie. So great idea. It's looking like it's going to be funny. They say that there will be, scary and horror elements in it for sure, just like there were in the original Anaconda movie. I did not see anything scary or horror like in the trailer. I mean, they did show a big snake, but I'm pretty sure, obviously it's CGI, but yeah, I'm not sold on the horror scary elements, but maybe they're saving them for like this was like the first trailer. So usually the first trailer is like a tease and they'll do the theatrical one and they'll add a little bit more. So I got to see what the second trailer is looking like, but it's definitely looking like it's bringing the funny. They're going into the jungle. They've got other people with them. The snake is huge and we'll see how it goes for sure. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a horror comedy because it's got a little bit of both, comedy, also some suspense and scares. I don't think I'm gonna get scared though either. Um, for me, the most memorable part is when there's one scene where you see Jack Black wake up, spit something out of his mouth, and there's like a pig attached to his head because they were going to use him as bait to get the snake,
That was fun.
and he has to run away. So that thing was like, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. That was super funny.
I remember in the trailer when that happened, they asked, he was like, "What is on my back?" or something like that. And Ben Stiller was like, "It's a long story." So I'm looking forward to seeing what that long story is. Like, I definitely want to see.
Ben Stiller?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, Paul Rudd. My bad.
My bad. I was like, I know he's
Get confused sometimes. They're kind of almost similar. My bad. Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd. Yeah. Paul Rudd was like, it's a long story. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that part of the movie. I'm pretty sure it'll be really funny. Do you think that this movie will outdo the original, or do you think it's just going to be a pure parody?
I mean, the first Anaconda, it's a classic. I think it was Ice Cube and J-Lo there. I'm not going to hate on a classic. That was a great movie, but I know that this one is going to be funny. I love Paul Rudd and Jack Black. So I have really high hopes and I'm definitely rooting for this one to knock it out of the park. And so I'm not going to do better or worse than the original. I just hope this one knocks it out of the park and it's coming out right on Christmas. So
Yeah.
a horror comedy on Christmas is not, it's just, you know what I'm saying? You would think this movie comes out somewhere in October, maybe early November, but it's a Christmas movie and it's not a Christmas movie. So I'm hoping it knocks it out of the park and that doesn't stop it from, it's not like a Christmas Carol, movie type of thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't get Christmas Carol vibes. I don't think it'll be better than the original, but I think it'll be funnier for sure. Definitely funnier just off the fact that Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in it. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to Christy. Be sure to check those out, and we will be reviewing them for sure when they get their theatrical release. All right, but I had texted you a couple days ago and told you that I had a surprise for you on the show. I basically made up a game. The viewers, they can, I don't know how they can join in. Maybe they can, I don't know. But either way, it's a fun game. It's just a movie guessing game, nothing serious. I'm going to give you some clues. And what I want you to do is try to guess the name of the movie. I will say that the movie is a mainstream movie. It's not like a hidden movie or a low key movie or something no one has ever seen before. The average listener has seen this movie before. I would just say the average moviegoer has seen this movie before. So don't think too hard when you're trying to guess because it's not going to be something the average person wouldn't know. All right.
Dang, all right. I wasn't ready for any movie trivia. I'm not a trivia guy, but let's do it.
I had to spring it on you. I wanted it to be a surprise so you couldn't prepare. All right. So the first clue is this sci-fi action film released in 1999 and revolutionized a special effect technique. I won't say the name of the technique, but it started it. That'll be the first clue. I'm gonna say all three clues, and then after I give all three clues, I'll give you three chances to guess. All right. So that's the first clue. This sci-fi action film.
I got a guess from the first one.
No, after I say all three clues, you'll say your guesses.
Okay.
So the first clue, I'm gonna say it again. This sci-fi action film released in 1999, and it revolutionized a special effect technique. All right.
Okay.
The second clue, it's directed by a pair of siblings, and it features a world where humans unknowingly live inside a computer simulation. All right, that's the second clue. I'll say it one more time. The movie is directed by a pair of siblings, and it features a world where humans unknowingly live inside a computer simulation.
Before you
say, let me just get the last clue out for the listeners, because the listeners might not know. I'm trying to figure out how I can get the listeners in on this. Maybe, I could say leave a comment, but then you never know if someone just fast forwarded to the end. So hopefully you're in your car right now, wherever you're listening, you're just screaming out the answer and you're about to get it in a couple minutes. All right. So the third clue, one of the most iconic lines from this film is, "There is no spoon." I'll say it again. One of the most iconic lines from this film is, "There is no spoon." And I got a bonus clue. Actually, no, my bonus clue is going to give it away. But I can say, okay, wait, maybe it won't give it away. The lead role, I won't say the actor that took the role, but the lead role was originally offered to Will Smith. And I think that news came out recently, so if you've been paying attention, you'll definitely know who it is. All right? So those are the three clues. You got your bonus clue. Emmanuel, what is your guess?
The Matrix.
You got it, buddy. The Matrix. That is the answer to the question. All right? So that's the game. I think we'll be doing this, not every episode, obviously, but here and there. And I kind of want it to be a surprise because I don't want, so the next time that you do it, don't do it next episode, but maybe 2 or 3 episodes down, just spring it on at the end, have your 3 clues, and just make sure it's a mainstream movie. Don't try to pick like Tremors 4. You know what I mean? Don't try to pick something that I clearly haven't seen. Pick a movie that's mainstream and the average person has seen it. All right? Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a quick one, but it's just what it is for today. We'll definitely be back next week. Be sure to subscribe, and comment. And we're going to see him this weekend. Gonna go see him. So definitely, if you haven't seen him, or hopefully you go see him this weekend or before the next episode, so the review won't be too spoilerly for you guys, because we're definitely going to discuss it. All right. But we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.